Saturday night at the Meadowlands, November 25th, is a huge card with 8 stakes races. Over $2.7 million is on the line. We have the fall Final Four and the FanDuel Championships, where we'll get to see Confederate face off against the best older horses in the country. So we got a 3-year-old versus older. We're going to take a look at the $75,000 guaranteed pick four, which starts in race number 6. It's the early pick four. And we have a field of 5 looking at that one, Matt, and it looks like 3 contenders by the morning line.
Yeah, a field of 5, and definitely on paper can probably narrow it down to 3, the 3 logical ones that we see there. 2 from the Oki Svanstedt barn and 1 from the Ron Burke barn. And listen, for a 5-horse field, I guess you can go 3 different ways here. I don't think MM's Dream is that far off the top 2, but these 3 will clearly, split the money in some capacity. And people, you might get yelled at for not keying in on a horse or using 2 horses, or I don't know, maybe not using 3 horses. But I did narrow it down to 2, and we probably have the same 2. I have a feeling.
Well, a couple of these horses, M&M's Dream and Jiggy Jog, certainly competed against each other in the Breeders' Crown. We're going to take a look at that replay. And what we have here is Jiggy Jog making his way to the front. And you would think M&M's Dream is going to back up now and Jiggy Jog's going to pull away. But, M&M's Dream comes back to the outside and finds renewed life there late.
Yeah, normally when a horse rushes by the pace setter, you can pretty much figure out that that horse is tired. He's going to lose ground, not gain ground. And I'm assuming it's more of a combination of Dexter Dunn wrapped up a little bit with Jiggy Jog, yes, but MM Street dug in right to the wire. And listen, this mare has proven herself at least over the last, through the second half of this year, that she can go with these, top mares and even top open trotters, I think. So I honestly think she's a must-use as probably the 3rd choice in here.
I actually went with M&M's Dream as my top pick. Just off that effort, she raced better than I expected her to race. And to me, maybe that means that she's coming back around to where she was, earlier this year when she was at the Meadowlands and doing really well. Jiggy Jog is a horse you have to use on your tickets, so I'm using those 2. Can Bond beat them? I think she can. I think if she sits the right trip and shakes free, she's got that sprinter speed that can beat them. But I would want a better price to take a shot that she can beat them. So I'm just going 1-4. Where are you going, Matt?
Same thing, 1 and 4. I guess the odd horse out is Bond, and we'll see how that plays out. No disrespect to Raised by Lindy and Swan's Eye, who are solid trotters in their own right, but probably have to step it up a notch, to knock off one of these top 3.
Race number 7 is the 3 Diamonds final, $376,000 on the line for these 2-year-old filly pacers, Matt. And the morning line would tell you My Girl EJ is the horse to beat. And do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think most people would agree with that. And it's funny, going into the 3 Diamonds elimination last week, when My Girl EJ was 10 cents on the dollar, I was looking for every excuse in the book to try to beat her. And I had the right horses to try to beat her, and My Girl EJ just brushed and dominated. It's as simple as that. I mean, she had every excuse to lose in this elimination, and she didn't. She still powered away from, a good field. So I don't see any of these horses coming back and maybe stepping up and knocking off such a razor sharp My Girl EJ. And, I'm going to take the short price. I would assume odds on. I will take that short price and move on.
Well, My Girl EJ, you mentioned the elimination win. We're going to take a look at that win. And it was certainly a powerful performance. She comes up first over, just blows them away. I think a horse to look at here is Sarasota Hanover, sitting 3rd on the rail at Scotty Zeron, and just ends up with no place to go. I think she had some pace left.
Oh, yeah, she has pace. She was the unlucky one when you're factoring the underneath horses. She had some early speed, got shuffled, and just got jammed in, and you can see nowhere to go. And she will be a big price from the outside post. And it wouldn't surprise me if she shows some early speed again, was able to settle close up somewhere, get into the number. Along with Miraculous Deo, who ran that big race at a 10-hole to get run before she got run over by My Girl EJ. But like I said, not seen in that clip we just saw was how she came from fifth, and a not a tight fifth, like kind of like a single file gapped fifth. So she made up a lot of ground just to reach the leader and just blew by with ease. So any sort of a repeat performance, and she's a three diamonds winner.
I ended up going too deep here. I used My Girl EJ. The other one I threw on my ticket was Blue Pacific, and this is on the angle of I believe she's going to be first time Lasix here, and assuming she is, then I could see that moving her up. We've seen a number of these 2 year olds late in the season add Lasix and get much better, and I thought it was worth a shot. I didn't use Sarasota Hanover just because even though she was locked in, I think that will lessen her price a little bit, and also because I know she's a trip horse. So unless she, leaves hard and comes away second or third and then shakes free, she's probably not going to win the race, Matt.
Yeah, that is possible, but obviously quite understandable why you'd be tossing her. But yeah, there's a lot of horses here that are going to want to look to set up a trip, obviously somewhere up close to the front. So it should be interesting.
Okay, we're going to move on to race number 8. It's the Goldsmith Maid Final on the trot for 2 year old fillies, $428,000. And this race, I mean, the morning line favorite is Soiree Hanover. I think Soiree Hanover is the horse to beat, but let's take a look at her win from last week, the elimination win. And, she set really soft fractions. And to me, she never really looked comfortable on the lead. I thought she, should have been a little bit better late. And her tactics are usually from off the pace, Matt.
Yeah, Tim Tetrick in the post-race interview basically said, kind of had no choice but to move to the front. It was the most obvious, tactical move to do, and yeah, she probably is not as good on the front end as she is, having a target or chasing from behind or grinding. So I wouldn't put too much into that. I wouldn't say too much negative about what was a winning effort. And it's not like teacher goes all out with her or anything like that. She did hold safely, but yeah, she went so slow that it kind of invited other horses into the race. So they're not going to go that slow in the final here, and obviously she is, if not the one to beat, one of the top 2 to beat here, just based on her body of work so far, and in her entire young career, ton of money earned so far.
Mm. I'm actually taking a swing against her here. I got to beat a favorite somewhere, and this is the one I'm trying to beat because of the fact that I feel pretty confident she's going to race from off the pace. And sometimes you race from off the pace, things happen. And just like it did for her in the Breeders' Crown, where she ended up finishing second best, just missing. I went with Armelina, who I think is a horse that Tim Tetrick actually got off of to drive Soiree Hanover. Armelina picking up Dexter Dunn certainly doesn't hurt. She's red hot right now, just a sharp horse. Maybe just getting to her best right now at the right time. And the other one I like is Pizzelle, who finished second behind Soiree Hanover, was really closing pretty fast, and that was the first start in the Knoll Daly barn. Granted, the ownership remains the same. It's not like it changed owners, but came to Knoll Daly. He's able to usually move horses up pretty nicely, especially these young ones, and I thought she had a big chance in here.
She got a nice trip because, like I said, the pace slowed and she ended up picking up she got towed into the race nicely with live cover. But yeah, she did kick home strong. She was moving the fastest to narrow the gap as Soiree Hanover. And yeah, there are a lot of positives. The solid effort last week, in the new barn. But she's going to have to. I mean, will she be second over in this spot, or will she be another one that might be too far back and can kick home, but maybe for third over, even fourth over, might not be able to reach. But much like I said, Soiree Hanover, you can't look too negatively. I'm not going to get too excited about Pizzelle off, one start where she did get towed into the race pretty nicely.
And then, so where did you end up going? I went 5-7 in here. What do you have in this race?
Yeah, you know what? I can't fault Armelina's race. That last week that really impressed me, and I really didn't know much about this horse coming in, and another one I thought maybe was beatable, and she dominated. I'm going to chalk it up here and use the 2 and the 5, and I'm looking for my price, in the last leg. So I couldn't. I don't really love anybody else to step up to beat either Soiree Hanover or Armelina, and I didn't want to flip a coin with them, so I used them both.
Well, I think we're both going to agree that this last leg might be the most wide open of the group. It's the Governor's Cup final, 454,000 on the line. The morning line favoritism goes to Louis Vuitton, who didn't even race in the elimination because he earned a bye.
Yeah, so he decided to take last week off, or I guess play it safe and not have to go into elimination, having a bye into the final. But we saw two pretty telling eliminations last week. Captain Luke, one of the elimination winners, was 0 for 10 going into the race, and another one that's recently his first time mutual start with Lasix. He took all he took all the money and delivered with a strong performance. And Maxim Hanover with another nice grinding effort. Newsroom was, I guess you could say, was better. A lot of interesting horses coming out of this race. Booming Economy, I thought, ran a solid race and might have had the hardest trip of anyone coming out of these eliminations. It made it really close to the wire. So I think obviously it's a wide open affair. And I don't know. I could see any one of like 6 or 7 horses here. For a big price, I kind of like Yannick driving Booming Economy for Ron Burke. Like I said, it was kind of caught no man's land elimination and just kept grinding and coming and made it super close.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts on Booming Economy, and that is basically, I thought the horse hung both weeks. I mean, the horse certainly hung in the Matron. I thought the horse hung a little bit last week as well. But before we talk about Booming Economy and maybe the horses we want to use, let's take a look at Maxim Hanover last week, because to me, that was an extremely impressive effort. You see, here he is pulling about the 3/8 pole first over. And then we're going to fast forward to the end of the race, and he's still first over. And he's just going to keep coming, Matt. And he's just relentless and says, I'm winning this race no matter what.
I liked Hunting for Chrome last week. And, I thought it was a great job by Joe Bongiorno to swoop the field and basically cruise an open lead. You see him getting tired here, but Maxim Hanover had every right to be tiring, right alongside the leader, Hunting for Chrome. They both got swallowed up. But, he just kept chugging and looked pretty fresh crossing the wire. So, he's an obvious contender. I don't know, uncertain trip. Maybe he's another uncovered trip from the rail, starting from the rail. I don't know. But, he's definitely one of many contenders here.
Another horse added, we talked about the adding Lasix thing. Joe Holloway added it on Blue Pacific. He's also adding Lasix on Newsroom. And maybe that will perk that one up. Though I thought the horse raced okay last week, but did get a little tired at the end of the mile, I thought.
Yeah, it wasn't fully extended late in the mile, but he did almost get run over for second by I believe it's Saturday Night was in that race, who's number 3 in this race. So was it an improved effort for people that were kind of disappointed the last couple of starts? Yeah, but I didn't see him improving like that dramatically where I kind of want to jump back on board. So even though he's one of the obvious logicals in this race that I'm going to end up not using on my tickets. But, you can't fault his overall record despite the couple of road bumps recently.
The horse I'm actually going with as my top pick, we haven't discussed at all, and that's Captain Luke. He was the other elimination winner. Most people are going to look at it and say, he sat a trip and just, was, and won because of that. To me, I look at it more, if he had a Lasix, became a much better horse, and that really helped him. And this is a horse to watch now as an up-and-comer who you're still going to get a reasonable price on.
I don't know if I think he deserves to be lower than 6-1 on the morning line just because he won his elimination. But, like I mentioned, he was 0 for 10 coming into that race. Took all the money. Like, I guess you could say a lot of sneaky money, and he delivered. He's had a nice trip, but he also, powered away strongly off that nice trip. So, there's nowhere to go but even continuing upwards for this guy, I think. So, definite contender, reasonable price, although I think he deserves to be shown a little more respect on the morning line. But, he'll probably go off and end up, on the 7-2, 4-1 range, maybe something like that, just because the race is so wide open.
Let's take a look at our pick 4 tickets popping up on the screen here. I went for $16. It's 2x2x2x4. Obviously that last leg is pretty wide open. I would probably come back with another ticket and just key Captain Luke in the end, for extra money, because that's a horse I have a decent opinion on, and I think will be a decent price. Matt's ticket's half price of mine.
Half price because I do have a key in the second leg, like I mentioned, and we went the same in the second. We went the same in the first leg. I used the two elimination winners in the eighth, but the ninth race, I'm going four deep. Captain Luke, like you mentioned, hunting for Chrome, who that was a horse that blasted from an outside post last week and rolled along, looked good until the final, eighth of a mile. But prior to that, he showed some good late interests in races from outside posts, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was, right in the mix there late at a double-digit price. And Louis Vuitton and Boom and Economy, like I mentioned, I won't argue with you when you said you thought he hung. I don't think he hung as badly as I've seen other horses hang, but he will be he and Hunting for Chrome will be my two obvious price plays. I'll be hunting for Chrome, let's say, if I'm alive in this ticket.
Well, you can go on drf.com/harness and click on the banner. You get free PPs for the entire 14 race card, 8 stakes races, 2 $75,000 guaranteed pick fours, races 6 and 10. But before we go, Matt, race number 11 is probably the highlight of the card. We have Confederate, who's everyone's horse of the year, going against older horses for the first time in his career and making the last start of his career. We'll start with this. Can Confederate win?
Yes, he can win. Will I be betting him? Probably not. I just think by the missile, although he's only 4 years old, so he's not as aged or up there in years as Tattoo Artist or some of the others in here. But how many years ago was it with Captain Treacherous facing older horses in one of those year-end races and didn't get close or really never threatened? I'm not saying that this is going to be the same scenario, but we have a horse in Confederate that has proven to like to be an off-the-pace commodity. Can he be used hard early to get closer than he usually is, and be able to sustain late? I don't know. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm happy though. I'm happy this race exists. Let's put it that way. And kudos to the connections. Final start taking a shot here, against some of the bigger boys, but. I don't know. 7-2 on the morning line. Are you going to get 7-2? Is he going to be over bets? I'm not even sure how he's going to be played here.
I also think Confederate can win. I'm also not picking him. Just throw out my pick, and then we're going to go. It's a buck bet Hanover. I really liked the effort last week, and I think he'll be a big price here with obviously by the missile Tattoo Artist Confederate in the field. So I'm taking a shot that this horse comes to play at the right time, and maybe he's getting better right now. Good luck on a big Saturday card at the Meadowlands.